Welcome back to the Perks Recap Podcast. With me, as always, is Al. Party on, Al. Uh, we were just
Party on, Craig.
we were just talking off air, and I pressed record, and you're like, wait. It was too
Well,
late.
that's so funny because it's no big deal at all. But I was trying to spare the listeners the usual rustling of my notebook papers because I forget to do it before you start every time.
All good, all good.
Oh, awesome, man.
All right. You also mentioned off air that this podcast got a lot of help with all the NFL news that has happened the last few days, and you're not kidding.
Oh man, it just kept coming. Like I was like literally 3 or 4 days ago, I was like, this is going to be a pretty quick pod,
Yeah.
because honestly, the combine. We're going to talk about the combine, and there was some stuff to talk about there, legitimately. But it was one of the most boring and the least newsworthy combines in the
I
history
tell
of
you what,
combines.
I don't need to spend almost any time on it, really. To be honest, I was so underwhelmed, and there were so many people that did not even participate. It was pretty frustrating, actually. We'll touch on it, obviously, but it's not. It was just simply wasn't that newsworthy to me.
No, I'm with you. I mean, literally, we can give it about 2 minutes. I can sum up. You can do whatever you want with it, and I can sum up everything I want to talk about in a minute or two because there's a couple little things. But the number one item on my list for the combine was the lack of participation was the number one story.
Yeah, I mean, everybody who apparently shined at the combine was like unknowns, a bunch of people that I didn't really even know about.
Yeah, there were guys that are going to rise, like based on their combine performance, might rise from. There's one guy in particular we're talking about who might rise from second or third round consideration to late first round. Um, but most of it was guys like that were looking at day three picks, maybe getting to the front of day three or scooting up into day two.
You're right, and those are not picks that I'm excited about.
No, no, no. I mean, some of them will be, some of them will be guys that we talk about 5 years from now. The vast majority of them won't be.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's jump into a lot of the news that has happened the last few days. A lot of releases, trades, signings. Where do you want to start?
I guess let's start with the freshest thing to me, which is Joey Bosa getting cut.
Joey Bosa getting cut is is definitely newsworthy. I am wondering where he's going to end up. A lot of people think he might go with his brother,
Oh,
which
I
would
didn't even think about that.
which
Duh.
would be ridiculous.
Oh, that would be something, man. Wow, I can't believe I didn't think about that. That's awesome. That's a great call. By the way, he's still only 29 years old. He's still in his prime. He's been very injury prone, He's only played
Yep.
he's missed as much as he's only played like 5 or 6 games 3 times in the course of his career. Um, but man, we all know when he is on the field, this dude is a beast. It's also to the point where instead of being a 3 down grinder, it might be time for him to be more of a pass rush specialist, and that could keep him healthy better. Maybe I mean that's for him and his new team to decide. But either way, this dude is still super effective when he is healthy and will is going to be a big signing for somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I would love him on my team. Obviously, I don't know if that's going to happen, but regardless, that was a surprising release for sure.
No doubt about it, man. No doubt about it. Especially given that the Chargers took such a big step forward last year, it wouldn't have been surprising if they cut him when Harbaugh came in because of the new regime and the building and stuff. But after year one of the Harbaugh regime going to the playoffs, it was a surprising move. It's obviously salary cap meets injuries, but it was a bit of a stunner to me too.
Yep. I'm just looking through a lot of the news here that I have. A lot of renegotiations as well. Well, Christian Kirk is a known wide receiver commodity that's pretty good. He was also released,
No doubt, that's a big one, man. I mean, he was a huge piece of their team just 2 years ago. You
and
know,
Tyler Lockett. Those are two receivers both released that can really help somebody out for sure.
Yeah, man. Now Tyler Lockett is 32, but he's still good enough to help a team. I'm with you. Kirk's still in his mid to late 20s, and they're both viable guys. Seattle, I don't know what's going on in Seattle. They release Tyler Lockett, and the same day it comes out that they DK Metcalf asked for and they granted permission for him to seek a trade.
Yep. Their right tackle was also released, George Fant.
Yep,
So
nicknamed
they're
Ellie.
making moves. Devontae Adams was released.
Yes, that was and that was no surprise, but another big name out there now.
Yep. Now, one thing I'm a little unsure of is T. Higgins got offered the franchise, a $26 million franchise tag. I thought you just declare the franchise tag and not necessarily term it as an offer.
I didn't see that phrasing. I just saw he got franchised, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I don't
Right.
think there's any.
But so that means he's coming
It means
back
he.
then.
It means he's going to be back and he's going to be pissed.
Yeah,
It, it,
yeah, yeah.
it's this could be I think the best case scenario here is that they do the way all these tags work theoretically is that they tag the guy, have time to renegotiate or to negotiate, I should say. Um, and but the problem is in that situation, you piss the guy off when you tag him, and so I don't know, man. It's going to be fascinating. It could be good because they keep him now. It could be bad because maybe he holds out until the third week of the season. Who knows?
Yep.
He raised a stink last year, you know.
Yep. We got Peters and Zach Martin both retiring.
Yeah, and Zach
Uh,
going right to the Hall of Fame. So's
yep.
Peters, actually.
Yep. Um,
You know, Peters played left tackle until he's 42 years old.
Jeez.
That's crazy.
Some of those offensive linemen know how to protect themselves well enough and just can last a long, long time.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. It's amazing. And he was effective until a year or two ago. You know, like he was real, really good player for a long time. And obviously, Zach Martin, one of the best offensive linemen in the history of football.
Yep. All right. Well, we should get to the trade. The trade. Debo Samuel going to Washington, strengthening that team even more, giving Jaden Daniels another weapon. Washington's getting scarier and scarier as we go.
This one sucks for both of us, man. And this reminds me an awful lot of 2 years ago when the not the Eagles, I'm sorry, when the Cowboys got Brandon Cooks and Stephon, I think it was Stephon Gilmore, right? Is that his name, the cornerback that they got that
Yeah.
year?
Yep.
Yeah. Um, both for a fifth round pick. One, each one for a separate fifth round pick. And it was a insane cheap bargain for the Cowboys then. And Debo Samuel is way better than Brandon Cooks was at that point in his career. And they got a fifth round pick from a good team. It's a crappy fifth round pick because it's gonna be 20 or lower guaranteed with the Commanders. And this is what blows my mind, Craig, and I want to hear what you have to say about this. I can't fathom that there wasn't a team out there willing to give a better, like a crappier team, give a fifth round pick, or a good team give a fourth round pick for this guy. It blows my mind.
I don't understand. I don't get it.
I don't either.
How about the fact that the Cowboys get Mango with a fourth round pick?
Oh my God. Think about that, Craig. Holy crap. I didn't even think of oh my, that's a great point. That's
That's
a great point.
horrible.
Hey, the Eagles gave up a third rounder for the guy that went to Penn State that caught that pass in the Super Bowl this year, Jahan Dotson, who played so well this year. I can't remember his name. Um, so
He's
yeah,
one
the
of those
Eagles gave up a
guys who
third rounder
never.
for him. You guy gave up a fourth rounder for a guy who's never going to do anything, and they just gave up a fifth rounder for a guy who has been one of the better players in the league for the last 5 years.
I don't. Yeah, I don't understand.
It's
I,
astonishing.
and it happens fairly often where like these guys go and the pick, you know, compensation is just so low. It's like what's going on here?
I know it's like, did they not bother to call any other teams, or you know what I mean? Like, I know you. I don't think you're much of a basketball guy, right, Craig?
I mean, somewhat, but not. Not really.
Yeah, right on. That's you sound like I am with hockey. Like I keep a half an eye on it, but I'm not a big hockey guy. And I'm not a huge basketball guy, but I'm still in it enough. This reminds me of in a weird way of that Luka Doncic trade that happened recently, where the Dallas Mavericks general manager, it came out after the trade that he never even called another team.
Right, and I think Didn't the Lakers GM be like, "Are you serious?" Like, didn't even believe it.
Yeah, it was. You're probably right. I didn't hear that detail, but I'm sure he was because it would have been like trading Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis would be like trading Patrick Mahomes for Trevor Lawrence, or it probably actually. Yeah, no, that's about right. That's about right.
Yeah,
Except no, it's not right because Anthony Davis is 32 and injury prone, so it would have to be somebody like Kirk Cousins.
yeah. I mean, just that. I don't get it. I don't get it at
It
all.
blows my mind, man. I just can't. Like, did they not call other teams? Did they just say we got to get rid of this guy? Let's take the first offer that comes our way. I don't get it. I didn't get it when the Cowboys got those two guys for cheap, and it mattered that year. It impacted that your team greatly that year.
Yeah,
Um,
big time.
and it's going to impact Washington too. I know Debo had a down year, but he's still a good player. Even his
He's a
down
very good.
year was pretty good.
Yeah, he's a very good player. I mean, he can even run, run the ball a little bit.
Exactly.
He
He's a
has
he's a
feel.
he's a Swiss Army knife, man.
Yeah. Oh man, they're gonna be good.
Dude, him and Terry McLaurin
Yeah.
together is scary, man. It really bummed me out this trade.
A lot of restructures also happened.
Yes.
I see Deshaun Watson got $44 million of his 2025 salary was converted into a signing bonus. It voids one more. It voids a year and created $35 million of cap space for Cleveland.
Yeah, nice move on their part to do something with that albatross they hung around their own necks.
Yep. Um, Bradley Chubb renegotiated. I'm trying to
Yep,
see any
yep.
big names. Okay, Dak Prescott converted 45 million of his salary into a signing bonus, creating $36 million of cap space for Dallas. And don't forget, with the retirement of Zach Martin, that's another 20 something million.
Big time.
And
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 CD Lamb did it too.
CD Lamb, that's exactly where I was going to go to next. They actually have, it appears to be about $70 million now has been freed up.
Yeah, now never assume you know what's going on with the cap because it's such a weird thing.
Right.
But it sounds like the Cowboys, for the first time since I can remember, seem to be having a smart off season.
Right. Well, the thing is, I think the problem is uh, what has sparked all this is Micah Parsons is going to be over the moon in terms of his salary.
Oh, 100%. And they messed up the last several years by being the last person on the block, or in this case, the league, to extend at a position. They did it with Dak. They were the last guy. Jalen Hurts' contract compared to Dak Prescott's is so much more favorable team wise because Eagles did it before like four other people did a extension that same offseason. And that's one of the things Howie's good at is getting in front of this stuff. And the Cowboys have been really bad at that. They finally did it this year with that. I'm not even going to attempt to say his name, Craig, but you can help me out with the defensive tackle that they signed to a 4-year extension, I believe it is, before he got on the market, and that's a big thing for the Cowboys.
Yes, and I'll get Odigizua.
Yes,
He got he got he got what was it? Was it 3 or 4 years? I forgot
four. I
what.
thought I saw 4 years, like 80 million. I want to say
Yeah, yeah. So he got paid like a star.
yes,
Oche
and now
Odigizua, yeah. 4 years, $80 million. So he's a good player. I don't know if he's worth that, but I definitely like him, and maybe they're gonna they see something in him to unlock him even more. Um, Let me see what else. There was another thing I wanted to mention with the Cowboys. Oh well, I- with Micah, Max Crosby signs a 3-year, $106 million extension, which means Micah's price just went up because he's going to want more than that.
and this would be an example of the Cowboys not getting in front of it.
He's
Yeah.
going to want to be get paid more than Max Crosby. That's just all there is to it. So
Oh,
they
a
got
hundred
to,
percent.
yeah. So I don't know what. I don't know.
I'm with you, man. It's like they did a couple good things here. You know what I mean? They renegotiated some contracts, created some space. They got ahead of the defensive tackle, but the big fish is still sitting there, getting more and more antsy, I'm sure. And that's the guy they can't let walk, and that's the guy that's going to be the most expensive. So man,
Yeah,
every defensive end that signs before him is going to cost them more and more money. If Josh, well, we'll get to the free agent soon enough, but the Eagles' Josh Sweat, who had that great Super Bowl game, is going to be a free agent. He's going to sign a big ass contract somewhere. The Cowboys might want to get it done before that free agent market kicks in, but they're not going to, I don't think.
I doubt it. I doubt it. I wouldn't be surprised even if they go into next year if they just don't even do anything this year
I know it's yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you.
because he signed through this year.
Exactly. Yep.
Uh,
And then you may get into
he's
a
going to be like
franchise
four.
tag pissy
He's going to be
situation.
yeah. He's going to be like $40 million,
Yeah. Yeah, he is.
or at least 35, about 35 or so, something like that.
Somewhere in there, man. He's going to make a mint. He's going to cost a fortune, man. And he's one of the best players in football. So there it is. And he's going to be
So they might be opening up all this space literally just for that.
I agree. It very well could be, and it could be. They could be negotiating right now. And or they, who knows? I don't know. But yeah, if it's not the only reason, it's the main reason.
Yep. All right.
I
I'm
got a,
looking through. That's about all the news I have. Do you have
I got
anything?
a couple others.
Well, Stafford going back to the Rams.
That was huge. I didn't expect that honestly. If just from the way it sounded, I don't know why I say that. Other than just the way the news was coming out. But big news for the Rams for staying competitive this coming year. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And Shakir for Buffalo, 4 years, $53 million extension. The wide receiver.
Craig? Do you hear? I'm so sorry to interrupt. I'm hearing another conversation come through the line here and there.
You're hearing the Yankee game in the background.
Oh my god! Okay, I just was paranoid. It was
I
like I
didn't
left
lower.
the app open on my
I,
phone or something.
I,
Because I
I
listen to
didn't lower
podcasts all the
the.
time, so I thought it might have been one of my podcasts. I'm sorry.
I didn't lower the volume enough.
All good, no worries at all. I just was paranoid it was me.
All right, it is muted now, so we're definitely good.
Right on, my man. Right on.
All
That's
right,
awesome.
sorry about that.
No, no, no. All good. All good. Like I said, I'm so technologically impaired. I'm just always paranoid. I'm doing something wrong. Remember when I made that noise because I thought I got dropped last pair
Yes,
where I was like,
yes.
oh. That's what it's like with me playing with technology by myself all day. So, all right, I got a couple news and notes. Starting with, and the big listen. The Bears have made some moves to improve their team. They had one of the worst offensive lines in football last year, combined with the fact that Caleb Williams was holding the ball longer than any other quarterback in football, led to a prodigious amount of sacks. And they have made some moves, bro. They traded for Jonah Jackson from the Rams, who was the Detroit Lions starting left guard 3 years ago. Played a couple years with the Rams and got him for a sixth-round pick. He's not considered one of the best in the league, but he's considered solid. And they got him for a sixth-round pick. Speaking of
Yep.
bargains. And then Joe Thuney, who last we saw, Josh Sweat was tearing him up in the Super Bowl because the Chiefs were forced to move him out to left tackle after like 5 failed experiments. But the dude has been a 4-time first team All Pro guard during the course of his career, and he's
Yeah,
still
they
only
got it for a
30.
fourth round pick.
Talk about bargains, dude. So they just seriously upgraded 2/5 of that offensive line for a fourth and a sixth round draft pick. Well done to the Bears.
Yep, yep.
Uh,
So they're making moves. Um, I got a feeling if they can get going, get what's his face going. I can't. What the quarterback?
Caleb Williams. Yep, yep.
Yeah, if they can get Caleb Williams going, that team they have a shot now.
I listen, and they have my favorite coaching hire of the offseason too. Ben Johnson
Yep.
from Detroit. That guy was running one of the best offenses in football. No matter how you look at it, you could say the best, and I wouldn't argue you. For the last couple years in Detroit, and he's taken that to this team, and I can't wait to see how it all comes together. They're making smart moves already, helping this offensive line. So yeah, this team could take a big vault forward. I'm curious to see. We're going to find out just how good Caleb Williams is too now because they're actually trying to protect him. So yeah, I'm really curious to see how all that pans out, man. I'm right there with you. And
Yep.
tied into that move, Craig, is because one of the you might think why would the Chiefs let Joe Thuney go? I mean, what the heck, you know? Well, the reason is because they have a free agent named Trey Smith, who's a guard, not super big name in the NFL, but one of the best guards in the NFL, and he's 6 years, I think 6 or 7 years younger than Joe Thuney. And they had to franchise tag him, and they're going to extend him by all accounts. And he was the reason they let Thuney walk because it was kind of a one or the other situation, and they went with a younger guy.
Yeah, and that makes sense. That makes sense.
It does. It does. The Chiefs are in that, they're in that precarious position of being one of the best teams in the league for a long time and having a lot of expensive players because of it. And you got to get real creative in those spots, and we'll see how it works out. But they're certainly making a move that makes sense with that in mind.
All
The
right.
the only other I have two other things very briefly. One is the Bengals, who are a mess of a franchise, man. They really are, and it's a shame. It's incredible they've gotten as good as they have. They got lucky and got Burrow, and because they don't run their organization very well. And another example of that is they had to release Alex Kappa, who is one of the highest rated guards in football. That's not named Zach Martin, and they had to release him at 30 years old, right in the
Yep.
middle of his prime. And he signed with the Raiders like an hour later because he was a hot commodity. And so one of the ways they had, one of the things they had to do to keep T. Higgins this year was get rid of one of their best offensive linemen.
Yep. Yeah. Like you said, not a very well run organization at all.
No,
Um, but good for the Raiders for scooping them up.
no doubt, it's going to help whoever's quarterback in them. And by the way, that will not be Gardner Minshew. The Fu Manchu is on his way to somewhere else again because they released him.
Yep. Yep. He's forever a backup and forever on the move.
Yep,
A year or
absolutely.
two here, a year or two there.
Yep, he's going to set up the video camera and start throwing footballs over the mountain again,
Yep.
like Uncle Rico.
Meanwhile, the Yankees are getting smacked 5-0 in the second inning. They just gave up a home run. It's got to be awkward because they're interviewing Cody Bellinger on the field in right field
Oh,
right
geez,
now, and it was nothing. And Garrett Cole just gave up 5 runs, and Cody Bellinger's got to still continue to talk to the announcers.
man, you know what? Like 20 years ago, old school like players would have ripped that microphone on and stepped on it after that home run wall went right over the
Well,
wall.
I mean, it's spring training.
I
If
know,
it,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I don't expect anybody to do that, but it's funny, man. It's
yeah, they just hit a home run to right field, so Bellinger was playing the ball, and he's mic'd up.
you could hear the wind whistling through his mic probably as he was trying to chase down the ball he couldn't get.
Yeah.
Man,
I mean, I
yeah,
think he
it's
knew what
funny.
he
I
was
don't know
doing.
how much. You never know how much stock to put into spring training. As Phillies fans, people were all fired up a week and a half ago when Jesus Lazardo, their big trade acquisition in the offseason, made his debut because he looked really good. He had two shutout innings. He struck out like I think four or something like that. He looked
Yep.
awesome. Yesterday, gave up 6 runs in 2 innings. And the spin today is, well, spring training doesn't matter that much. We will see. All right, and that's all my news and notes for NFL free agency and trades and stuff.
All right. Well, do you want to go to our team's free agents?
Yeah, sure, man, absolutely. You wanna go Cowboys or Birds first, whatever you want to hit.
Why don't you do the Birds?
Okay,
Because we talked a little bit about the Cowboys already.
okay, you got it. You got it. All right. So a couple big things have happened already in Eagle Land. Um, One is they extended Saquon Barkley. They made him the highest per year paid running back ever. And we had a conversation 2 months ago or so about how Barkley's year was may or may not reset the running back free agent market. Not that it would reset it back to the insane days of 5-7 years ago, but cause a little bit of a bump for sure. And here it is. And the Eagles, 2 years in a row, giving money to a running back is such an about face from the last 20 years. It's still blowing my mind, and he deserves it. And it was good.
Yeah, I totally agree on with one condition.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a 2-year extension on top of the 2 more years that he's originally signed for? So it's 4 years he'll still be there?
Yes.
All right, that's terrible. I totally disagree. That's good. That's awful. That's a bad job.
Well, I got the entire media and every other GM in the NFL that says Howie Roseman is the best GM in football right now. So I would disagree.
I would agree that he's probably one of the best anyway, or the best. But I don't think that's a good job at all because running backs fall off very fast. He could have another
But
great year
Craig,
this coming year, and then those last two could be terrible. And talk about an albatross, that could be a big problem.
but Howie's not dumb. He has there's ways you know darn well NFL contracts are not guaranteed.
That's true. If there's ways for him to get out, then absolutely, I'm completely on board. Now I'm completely on board before for this year, regardless, coming off of this great year, that he's going to have another really good year. But 2 more years, like to project out for 4 years for a running back, is how old is he now? 29,
He's 27. Oh,
27.
how
Oh,
old would he be then?
yeah. I was thinking it was he'll be 31,
I think 30, 30. I'm not sure because I'm not sure if he's going to be 28 going into the next season or not, but it'll be 30 or 31.
something like that. Okay, that's not terrible, but I still don't like it. Over the age of 30, giving him big money. But if there's ways for him to get out, absolutely fine with it, and obviously still completely on board for this year and probably the year after as well. But then after the 2 year extension, when those kick in, then I might have a little bit there might be a little bit of an issue. But
And
if
I would
he
agree with that just as an age thing, but I guarantee you this. Howie Roseman did not just lock himself into an unget-outable 4-year running back contract. That guy's the
right,
best GM I've ever seen. When it comes to the salary cap, it's not even close. That guy's the best GM I've ever seen.
right,
So,
right. So we have
so
to
there's
assume he's got a way out if need be.
exactly. And by the way, there are special running backs that aren't as prone to that. One of which we disagreed about in the offseason. By the way, I never brought this up. We had a bet, not on anything, but just for manly awesomeness. Uh, before when we did our offseason show last year, whether Derrick Henry would top 1,400 yards or not, and he did it in week 11. So I won that bet. And talk about running backs over 30. So that's why I bring that up. Because
Uh,
I think Barkley might be one of those special ones. You know what I'm saying?
right. He absolutely could be. I always just think of Ezekiel Elliott, that he literally went from one year to the next as one of the best running backs in the league to literally one of the worst
I listen, and
in
there
one
are
year.
way more examples of that than there are Derrick Henrys. So I 100% understand. 100%. And there for every Derrick Henry and Jerome Bettis who have these wonderful post 30 second act sort of things, there's a lot more Ezekiel Elliott's.
Yep, yep.
I love
But
it. Right on.
we'll
Okay.
see, and like you said, he most likely has a way out. So if he does, then that's fine, no
Yeah,
problem.
and listen, if what you said is correct, then I'm on your side of this. But I in Howie I have faith. In Howie we trust because he bleeds for Philly, Craig, with the beer can imprint on his forehead. Okay, big news number 2, and talk about breaking trends of a franchise. The first two news articles here from the Eagles are massive shifts in the way they used to approach things. Money to Barkley, money to Zach Baun. And let me tell you how happy I am he got this 3-year deal, because the Eagles, I've watched for literally 25 years, starting with letting you remember Jeremiah Trotter, I'm sure, the Axeman?
Oh yeah,
Who was one of the best middle linebackers. They don't make linebackers like him anymore. Linebackers like that don't play in the league anymore. They're defensive ends or something now. I don't know what they would do with Trotter anymore. But he was one of the last of those pure middle linebacker, tough guy, super son of a bitch mother effers. And they let him walk to they let him walk to the at the time the Redskins right in his freaking prime. And it killed me and it killed them for a couple years too. And they gave money to a linebacker this offseason, Craig, and it couldn't make me happier. Zach Baun earned every little bit of it.
yeah. I'm right there with you. I'm totally right there with you.
I couldn't believe they did it. I was preparing myself to be really sad about Zach Bond playing for somebody else next year.
Now, they're not going to be able to re-sign everybody. Who do you think they're not going to bring back?
Okay, well, part of it they addressed already by cutting Darius Slay.
Right, right. Okay.
Now the rumors are they still might bring him back, but I'm a little. I'd be more surprised if they did because he's gonna cost money even at 35, and they prepared for this by drafting Quinion Mitchell and
Oh,
Cooper
yeah.
DeJean last year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They don't really need him. He's 35.
Yeah,
Still good at 35, which is surprising, but probably time to move on.
I completely agree. I completely agree. Now, where this is going to come into play, Craig, for them is their ability to re-sign some of their best free agents that are left. I haven't heard any whispers about them having to really cut anybody or anything like that. But here, check out their top three free agents are um, Josh Sweat, who I talked about a little bit ago. This guy is has been a very good pass rusher for a long time. He had a monster Super Bowl, which is going to add several million to his paycheck. And he's a free agent. Milton Brown, who had the most sacks in the Super Bowl by anybody not named Josh Sweat, is also a free agent. And Mekhi Becton, the reclamation project they got from the Jets last year, who ended up being an awesome right guard for them, are all free agents. I would assume Milton Brown is gone because a lot of people in Philly think he's a very good player, but also aided greatly in his sack numbers this year by playing next to Jalen Carter. So I think the odds are he's going to get a huge contract, and the Eagles are going to let him go. Josh Sweat, Mekhi Becton, I'm not sure. So if Josh Sweat gets as big a numbers, I think he's going to, and Becton, I think they have a shot to get back. I hope they do.
So yeah, losing Sweat is going to be felt. I always really liked him.
I'm with you, man. He's been underrated. He's a really solid, underrated player, and at times spectacular. And yeah, it's going to be sad to see him go. Thank goodness their young pass rusher, who Nolan Smith came up during the second half of the season in the playoffs. Because if he walks, they're really going to need Smith next year, and he established himself. So I think that's more likely that Sweat walks because Smith established himself.
Yep, yep. I think they'll be fine. Losses always hurt, especially to the good players, but so is the nature of the game.
No doubt, no doubt. And then the last one on my end is Kenny. It's not a game changer, and if anybody offers him real money, they'll let him walk for sure. But Kenny Gainwell, who's been a really, really solid backup running back for the last 4 years for the Eagles, so he could be gone. Somebody wouldn't. I could see somebody out there wanting to give him 50 more carries a year.
Yep, yep, yep.
All
All right.
right, how about those
Well,
boys?
well, um, actually, I'm going to start off on something you probably wouldn't expect that I really hope they bring back. The
Interesting.
punter, Brian Anger, is a free agent. He's one of the best punters in the league.
He is. Yes, I
I want him,
absolutely.
I want him back. Um,
I would
yeah,
too.
I don't know if they will. They probably, to be honest, they probably won't bring him back because they just never pay kickers of any. They never bring back kickers after the first contract. Usually, they move on from kickers and punters in general. Anybody who kicks the ball, you're here for your rookie contract, then you're gone.
It's so wild.
So that's just their philosophy. So he's probably going to be gone, but I would definitely like to bring him back. Rico Dowdle. See, it's hard to determine now without the draft yet because if we draft Jonty, then it doesn't matter.
Right. Right.
That's who I want.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
But I mean, he proved to be a decent, okay kind of running back. But I think even if we don't get Jonty, we get a running back in like the second round or third round. We could probably get somebody who could do the same thing as
Yeah,
him. So I'm okay if they don't bring him back, not a big deal. Um, what I don't want is them to bring him back, pay him a little bit more, and then not draft a running back.
right,
That
right.
would be terrible.
Yeah, and then your guy's there and they pass on him.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh Yeah, man.
Um,
No, listen, I'm with you. I think he's a good player. I don't think he's any like a game changer. I don't think he's worth a massive contract like or anything like that. I don't think anybody in the league looks at him like that. But I think there's a decent chance he's starting for somebody next year. You know?
yeah, yeah, or in the mix in a
Yeah,
committee.
for sure. Or yeah, a key component of a two headed monster or something. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
He did. He was. You know, we were talking about him a lot this year because he was for whatever reason they brought back Zeke. Just that was like an attempt at a feel good story, I think, more than anything. Um, but then the feel good story turned into them giving him the ball, 10 to 15 times a game for the first 6 weeks of the season, which made no sense at all. And then when they finally gave Rico had over 1,000 yards this year, and he wasn't even the starting running back for at least 6 or 7 weeks.
yeah,
So, credit to him. It's not like the Cowboys had an awesome year, so he did it in a tough spot. So yeah, he's gonna make some money this year, and good for him.
yeah. Okay, next one will be Brandon Cooks.
I
Uh,
think Cooks might be cooked.
yeah, he's done. They're not gonna bring him back. Um, I could definitely see them drafting a receiver. I could, maybe they get in on one of these receivers. I mean, if they can get or make a trade for another fifth round trade for a decent receiver, something like that.
Yeah,
But they
if they're
do,
out there to be had, like
yeah,
Debo was, come on,
they do need somebody though.
they
There's no
do.
doubt about it. They need,
They
need another guy.
they need one other dude to complement CD. Yep,
Yep. Next one. CJ Goodwin got re-signed as cornerback. Kind of surprising there. Chancey Goldstein, no, 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 no. Laval Joseph, no. Linval Joseph, no. Eric Kendricks, linebacker. I want him back, big
right
time.
on.
And I'm
Yeah,
reading right now that they are in negotiations with him right now to
okay,
bring him back. So that would be huge.
that makes a lot of sense.
Yep. Trey Lance, goodbye.
Adios.
Demarcus Lawrence.
That's a big one, dude.
Between Lawrence and Parsons, there goes all of our cap money that we just opened up is going to go to those two players.
Yeah, man. And Lawrence is now coming off a major injury at 33 years old. Do you want to? I'm pretty sure I saw 33. Am I right about that?
Let me
I'm
see.
efforting.
Is he that old?
32. He'll be
Oh,
33 before next season.
yeah. I still want him because he's
I
still.
listen. I don't blame you. I would listen. Brandon Graham's 35, and I hope he doesn't retire.
Yeah,
So
he's
I
still
get it.
good. If you can get him for 2 or 3 years, perfect. As long as he
Yeah,
doesn't, as long as he's not like unrealistic and wants like 5 years.
I'm really
Uh,
curious to see what kind of market there is for him because of the. I mean, he's a great player,
I don't think there's
but
going to be a market because I think the Cowboys are going to take care of it. I,
that's
I
that.
I think this is going to get done before free
Yeah,
agency. I think it's going to get done uh, within the next, before free agency, next couple weeks, and I think Lawrence will be back, hopefully on a 2 year deal, maybe a third year option kind of a thing. But either way, I think he'll be back.
right on, man. Yeah, no, listen. I would want him back if I were you. I'm with
Yeah,
you.
I haven't heard anything about them letting him go.
Right on, right on. Yeah, I'm really curious to see where that lands because that's I don't know. I can't think of a number in my head for Demarcus Lawrence. It's a interesting thing to try and place in the market because he hasn't had double digit sacks for like 7 years, but he's still a very 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 good player. But he's
And
also coming off an
he gets a lot
injury
of pressure.
season.
He gets a lot of pressure, and he's a good run blocker
Yeah,
too.
listen,
Run
Listen,
stopper.
Brandon Graham only had double digit sacks, I believe, once or twice in his like 14 seasons, but he's one of my favorite Eagles of all time. So that's not me ripping on him. It's just tough to place a guy like that in the market. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, yep,
So
yep.
because somebody could offer him $50 million for 2 years, and I wouldn't be surprised. Or he could get a 30 million for 3 years, and I wouldn't be surprised. You know what I mean? I have no clue. I don't get it. So I'm curious to see, and I think the odds are you're right that he ends up back with the boys.
Yep, hopefully. Um, all right. So Jordan Lewis, cornerback, is also out there.
That's when I wanted to see what you thought about that because he's their slot guy, right? Is he the slot guy? Or does
Yeah,
he play? Okay.
he's the slot. Now the problem is, well, actually, Bland also plays a lot of slot too. They kind of both do slot, and both can be on the outside. Um,
Okay.
the problem is, I heard because they restructured Diggs
Okay.
to a point where they is almost like no cap hit if they release him, and now the word is they're going to release Diggs.
What?
Yeah,
Holy crap.
yeah. I didn't. My kid came home yesterday and said that it looks like they're going to release Diggs,
Whoa.
and
That would be a
I don't understand that at all.
that
That
would be a
makes
major
that
blow. Holy mackerel.
makes no sense to me.
Yeah, oof. Yeah, no, I mean, as an Eagle fan, that would be awesome, but I can't even fathom that that would be the case. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
So
yeah, I know they're in twists and ties with the salary cap, so that might be their best answer. I don't know. Wow.
yeah, if they do that, then they got to bring Lewis back.
Right. Exactly. 100%. 100%.
Um, and then maybe they'll draft one. I don't know, but and maybe they won't release him. Maybe they'll come to an agreement. But I do know they restructured to the point where releasing him will save them a lot of money, and it won't be a huge cap hit to let him go.
Right on. Right on. No, that makes some sense there. Yeah,
So
I'm really
like the
curious about
writing
that.
is kind
Wow.
of on the wall.
Yeah. Wow. I am fascinated by that. That is really interesting. I'm gonna keep my eyes on that for sure.
Yeah, I hope they don't.
No, of course, man. Yeah, absolutely.
I would like to see Diggs and Bland play one full season together, and not one game and then they're out. Somebody's out for 6 weeks, and then they come back and the other one's out for another 6 weeks, and you never see them.
I mean, you legitimately have had sitting there for a couple of years now the chance at one of the best corner tandems in the league, and it just is like you said, one game of it.
Yeah, I think last year they played together maybe twice.
That's insane. That's insane. Oh man. Hey, if you don't mind, I just want to backtrack for half a second because I forgot one point I wanted to bring up when you brought up Rico Dowdle, and not Rico specifically, but the running back market this year. While I think it's a boost from the Barkley and Henry years, also it has a bit of a problem for free agents because this draft this year is considered one of, if not the deepest, for running backs in a decade. There are guys that people really like that are going to go in the fourth, fifth, sixth round this year.
Yep,
So
absolutely.
yeah, so that really directly affects somebody the level of a Rico. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which is why gun to my head, I don't think they're going to bring him back.
Yeah, I agree. And I also think it affects a Kenny Gainwell, like I brought up on the Eagles big time too. Like I think the Eagles have a chance to get him back because of as at a really low price because of the all these great running or people people looking at this running back class like it's going to be great.
Yep. The only other one on the Cowboys that we're going to know, I mean, Osa got signed, would be Cooper Rush.
Oh, wait, say again. Did they re-sign him or he's a free agent?
No, they re-signed Osa, and Cooper Rush is the only other name on the list that's a free agent
Gotcha. Okay, and
that we know of.
he's gone for sure, right?
I would assume because I don't know if he can contend to start somewhere, but he's like you've said before, he's probably the best backup in the league, if not one of them.
Well, yeah, this season put him in the conversation with as best or one of best backups in football. I agree. There's probably
And there's
like 5 to 7 guys he's in a clump with. You
yeah,
know,
and there's always a market for those guys.
always, man, always. I mean, he will get a solid contract to be either like a Raider situation where he could possibly compete or be a placeholder for a rookie draft pick, or a guy where he's just a definite backup and gets a nice solid contract to be a great backup.
Yeah, I can definitely see it, no doubt about it.
Yeah, man. I mean,
So
it's possible he just
I
takes
don't.
Gardner Minshew's spot that just opened up in Oakland, you know, or I mean, in Las Vegas. Sorry.
Yeah. So I don't think he's coming back.
No, I agree. Okay, cool.
So we need to back up because I also don't think Lance is coming back.
I'm with you too.
So that'll have to get addressed. But either way, that's the Cowboys free agent picture as well. So we're done there.
Right on. Very cool. Very cool. And I did see, by the way, I did see an article from that quoted Stephen. It's Stephen Jones, right? The son,
Yeah, Stephen Jones.
as saying they are definitely drafting a quarterback this year in the late rounds.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
And
Yep.
the article was saying that those two backups being free agents was why. So yeah, it all ties in perfectly to what you said.
Yep. Makes sense. Okay. All right. Let's see. What else do I have here? Well, I can. We can get to the combine if you like.
Okay, I do have a couple things. We're not gonna listen. Flake, did we say that on or off air, Craig, about this combine? Were we talking off air?
Not sure, but we basically said it was a dud.
It was a dud. It was a absolute dud. The number one story from the combine, and my first thing I wrote about it was the lack of participation. There was a massive amount of people that either just did interviews or did like there was a couple guys that like I just did the bench press or you know what I mean or just did the 40. Um, the amount of players that didn't participate in the entire combine was huge, huge. Um, there was no real eye popping numbers. There was no Xavier Worthy this year running a 4.21 40 or anything like that. Nobody was bench pressing 97 reps or anything. No eye popping stuff at all. Um, the this is how boring the combine was this year. That the biggest news probably that came out of the combine was that the top offensive tackle Will Campbell from LSU's arm length was 32 and 5/8 inches, and the NFL prefers a minimum threshold of 33 inches to play tackle.
It's
And no
ridiculous.
joke, he's been plummeting in mock drafts ever since, which is crazy to me because it's 3/8 of an inch below their ideal. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Unbelievable.
So okay, here's my entire combine spiel, real quick, and hop in wherever you want to. Feel free to chime in wherever you find anything interesting or not. Top 40 times of the combine by position. Maxwell Hairston from Kentucky was the number one overall, 4.28. He's a corner from Kentucky. He was probably a third round ish sort of guy. They're talking he might have bumped himself up into late first or second round consideration. Another Texas receiver was the number one receiver this year. This year Matthew Golden, who did a 4.29, and they're talking about him late first or second round. And then the number one running back is a guy named Bashul Tootin. What a great name, Bashul Tootin, from Virginia Tech, who ran a 4.32. Now he was written up as a fifth to sixth round prospect pre combine. That might shoot him up a little bit, but probably not a ton because it's a running backs. It doesn't affect them a ton unless they're really bad. And that's the 40 news. The only other thing is I want to talk about the three quarterbacks because it's now a three quarterback conversation, Craig. A
Yeah,
third quarterback is
Jackson Dart.
boom, of course, nailed it. So this guy now, I am convinced will definitely be a first round pick. I don't know where, but I'm convinced he is. If I could bet on it right now, I would bet that he will be a first round pick.
There's
There's
a mock that has the three quarterbacks going 1, 2, and 3.
I was going to bring that up, and it's Charles Davis. Now, Charles Davis is a bit of a simpleton. Okay. He does his research, but he really does, and he gives a crap. So I respect him on a certain level, but I almost never agree with his conclusions. And I am almost positive that will not happen in this draft. Um, but I do agree with one part of his premise, which is Jackson Dart is now going to be a first round pick. There's actually been some scuttlebutt, and I don't agree with this yet. We'll see with all the news that shakes out in the next couple months or month and a half or so. But there is a more than an insignificant amount of talk now that Jackson Dart might go ahead of Shedeur Sanders, and Cam Ward is clearly establishing himself as number one. Now, Charles Davis had Shedeur Sanders going one over Ward, so that's clearly not totally the case. So I'm more confused. This is what I wanted to say. I'm more confused about where the quarterbacks are going to go after the combine than I was before it.
Yeah, Dart's now the wild card.
Dart's the wild card. Sanders is I've seen him now go anywhere. I found a mock. Check this out. Okay, because you already brought up I wrote down that Charles Davis thing. That's cool. You saw that too, man. Because I thought that was really interesting. Well, here's the other extreme, and both mocks were done within a day of each other post combine. All right. There's a guy named Lance Zierlein who is an NFL Network guy who's on it, and one of their on air guys. He's kind of like an Adam Schefter of the NFL Network, kind of one of those sort of guys. Um, his latest mock has Jackson Dart not even going in the first round, Cam Ward at number 3 to the Giants, and Shadur Sanders falling all the way to 29, where the Cleveland Browns trade up with the Commanders to get him in at 29 overall, and no Dart. So this is how widely disparaging that's the wrong word. This is how widely ranging the opinions are on where these quarterbacks are going to go even after the combine.
I I'm not on board with that one. I think they're definitely going to go 1 and 2, and I think Dart will not get past the Jets at 7
I listen. Hey, I
at
won't dispute
6.
that. I won't dispute that. I would agree with that way more than I would agree with this guy. And it would surprise me less if Charles Davis was right than if this guy was right. And I don't think that'll happen. I don't think it'll be 1, 2, 3. But it would surprise me a lot less than if Zerline's scenario came true.
Yeah, Shadur going 29 and Dart not in the first round. Dart's going in the first round.
I completely agree, man. No, he was already getting that sort of talk leading into the combine, and he had one of the best combines of any quarterback. He did almost, I think he did everything. There might have been something he didn't do, but he did most of the stuff, if not everything, and he looked good in everything. So, yeah, he helped himself, whereas the other two quarterbacks are going to have to wait for their pro days to help themselves.
Yeah, any one of those three receivers get to three quarterbacks get to the Jets. I think they're taking them.
I agree. I absolutely agree because I mean what the hell else are they gonna? I mean, unless they make some sort of like you know Sam Darnold move, which wouldn't that be wild? Back to the Jets. Unless they make some move in free agency that I don't see. Yeah, listen, I'm with you 100%. They have to have something, and right now they have not. I mean, they have Tyrod Taylor, I think, still as a backup, maybe,
Yep,
and that's
yep,
it.
that's it. Yep. Um, Back to that Bashil Tootin guy.
Yeah.
He logged a 10'10" broad jump in a 40.5 vertical, which is pretty good for someone for a running back anyway. But
Yes,
he's
that's
not really.
astounding for a running back. Yeah.
They said he's not really polished, but the potential is absolutely there. So it's like him, Trevor Etienne, who is Travis Etienne's brother, I believe.
Yes, he is. I like him a lot.
Yep. And then Quinshawn Judkins are all there. They all shined at the combine. Genty, of course, didn't do it, but he'll be the first one. But I'm thinking all of these guys are gonna go probably third round, fourth round, that range.
Yeah, they're gonna. There are a couple guys that are gonna get. I maybe they'll start going in the second. Like there's two guys that are going in the first round. Janty and the guy from North Carolina whose name I haven't memorized yet. Do you know who I'm talking about off the top of your head? Because I'll find it.
Um, I do not.
Where is it? Where is it? Omarion Hampton.
Oh,
Omarion
okay.
Hampton. Look at this guy, dude. If because I wasn't really familiar with him. I haven't seen North Carolina play a whole lot last year. I didn't see him play at all last year, honestly. So he is 6 foot 220, and he runs like every bit of it, dude. He is a brick house. And there are a couple. I don't agree with this, and I know you. I'm fairly certain you won't, especially not being super familiar with him. I think you'll be with me on this. But there are some people that are now trying to put him ahead of Janty.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. So I'm not in that club, but I do like. I've watched enough highlights now to see where they're coming from.
Okay. So he might be a first rounder or maybe a second rounder, and then these other guys are going to be third and fourth rounders.
I agree.
But there's still some good names there. Donovan Edwards, R.J. Harvey, Jaden Blue, Dylan Sampson. They all got honorable mentions on the list I'm looking at right now. So, like you said, the running back market is rich this year in the draft.
It really is. It's the year to need a running back, man. Like if you even if you don't take one in the fifth or sixth round, that might be better than your current backup. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a really it's a every expert I've heard talk about it that I value their opinion says this is a big time running back class.
yeah, yep. I'm just looking at some other stuff, some other names and stuff, and yeah, nobody's really jumping off the page. The tight ends though, that tight end, the what was it
Oh,
from Penn State?
Penn State and Michigan, they're the big two.
Wow.
Yeah, and the difference is one of them is 24 and one of them is 21. Um, I think that's the Penn State guy that's the older one. So, but he's considered the slightly better. So it's going to be interesting to see who goes first. But they are two of the best tight end prospects to come out in some time. So they are both considered like heavy first round prospects, big time first round prospects.
Oh, Tyler Warren.
Tyler Warren, thank you.
Yeah. They got him going 14th. I'll tell you what, if they can be half as productive as Bowers, that's a steal.
Absolutely, man, absolutely. I mean, one article. I have to find the Michigan guy's name too while we're talking.
The
Because
Michigan
no,
tight end.
yeah, what is his name, man? Is it Colston Loveland? I think that's the right guy. Yep.
Colston Loveland. Yep, that's him.
Okay, cool. Yeah, a lot of articles I've read said um, that guy's definitely going in the first round too. And there, if anybody thinks he's getting past Jim Harbaugh, they'd like to take that bet.
Yes, yes, yeah. Because Michigan, the whole deal. That this mock that I'm looking at right now has him going to the Chargers as well, number 22.
Right on. Yeah, I mean that makes a lot of sense. It really does, and it's a position of need for them. So it all comes if he lasts that long. Oh, that's what it is. Neither of them's old, but the guy from Penn State is 22, and the guy from Michigan is 20.
Okay, okay. But they have a
So,
guy from Penn State going way, going 7 picks before him.
and I think he probably will, unless some people fall in love with having the opportunity to get a guy on their second contract when he's still only 24. You know what I mean?
Yes, that's true.
But it doesn't always work out. So it's a but I think there's enough separation between the two, even though they're both highly regarded, that I still think the Penn State guy would end up going higher.
Yeah. Oh, this draft also has Genty going to the Dallas Cowboys.
I've seen that a lot, man. I've seen it a lot. I've so who's number 10? Who's got the 10th pick, Craig? Do you have that right there?
Yeah, 10th pick is the Bears.
The Bears, because for some I've seen that a couple times lately too.
They've
I
got
don't
them
know
getting
what.
in another offensive lineman to shore it up even more.
Well, that would make a lot more sense to me than a running back because
Yeah.
they already. I mean, I like Janty, but my God, they need to they already have a killer receiving core, and and they signed DeAndre Swift to not that he's. I think Janty's going to be a lot better, but I think you can live with Swift and give him another offensive lineman. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean they got 2 new offensive linemen. Let's get a third one. Stud young kid. They got him going getting Kelvin Banks out of Texas, offensive lineman.
And you know what they didn't get in this wonderful upgrading they did, which I am a huge fan of and a huge proponent of. What they did not get is a tackle on either side.
Well, they got
So they
Darnell. They got Darnell Wright in 2023.
Yes, and I don't know how well he's considered. I don't know if that's a guy they want or not. I mean, you know what I found out recently? Um, football. What's the football reference? Like we use baseball reference all the time, right?
Football Reference. Yeah, I use that one too.
Yeah, and they have attempted to come up with something like WAR for football, which is they call I forget exactly what they're calling it, like the I think it's like AVG, average value grade, or something like that. Um,
Okay.
and listen, I don't know how good it is. I don't know anything. You know what I mean? But it's given me finally, Craig, something to look at for how good an offensive lineman is.
Okay.
Now, again, I don't know, like just like war and things like that. I don't know how they're doing it. I don't know if it's of any value, but it's something. So, tell me that guy's name again. What was the offensive tackle for the Bears? Donnell.
Darnell Wright with a W.
Okay.
Well, this article seems to think that he's a good player because it says with if they draft Banks and put him at left tackle in 2023 first round pick Darnell Wright at right tackle, they have their bookends on the offensive line for the next decade.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. So if that guy's that highly regarded, then they have like at least three legitimate offensive linemen now.
And if they get a fourth, they could be. Oh my goodness. Maybe they
Yeah, that
won't.
that could
Maybe
be
they won't.
huge.
Maybe they won't take Banks. Maybe they will get Genty.
That's interesting. And now I will say this: the grades I've seen on offensive linemen that are good so far are 8 and above. Like if you're like in fact, I'll pull up somebody we know is great right after this to give you the proper comparison. All right. Um, Wright, his rookie season was an 8, which is incredibly good and super encouraging. But last year they graded him at a 6.
Okay.
So I don't know what that means exactly, but let's just look up Zach Martin since he just retired and we
Well,
know,
last year he was not very good. That's why he was retiring.
but we know the rest. It'll give his whole career.
Oh, okay, because he's basically said uh, one of the reasons he retired is because he realized he can't do it anymore.
Okay, dude. So this is how good. I haven't seen a number like this yet. I just started looking at this in the last week or so. So this is how good Zach Martin is. In 8 of his 11 seasons, and only only one of those 3 seasons where he didn't do the thing I'm about to say, did he play a full season.
Uh, okay.
His minimum player rating was 11. His best was 17. That's crazy. That's crazy.
I'm
That's like having
surprised
a
he made it.
war of like, from what I can tell from the stats so far, Craig, that's like having a single season war of like 12 or 13.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Totally insane. Um, I mean, there's a lot of cool Zach Martin stats that are coming out now that he's retired. Oh, he's also going. They also announced he's going to go in the Ring of Honor, which is cool.
Oh, good, good. Now, well, tell the listeners the one you texted me because that was the real mind blower to me.
Well, apparently he went through his entire 11-year career with zero holding calls on pass plays.
And what was the one about Pro Bowls too?
He has more Pro Bowls than holding calls total in his entire career.
It was like 8-7 or something like that, right? Or 9 to
Something,
8. Or...
something like that. But
That's
yeah,
insane. More Pro Bowls than holding penalties.
yeah, over his career.
That's insane. I mean, that is mind-boggling.
Yeah, and the fact that he never had one on a passing play is also mind-boggling. Because you would think
It's incredible.
if anything, you would do it more on a passing play because quarterback scrambling around, you might hold somebody back from getting to him, something like that.
100%. a hundred
And
percent. I
he
mean, that's
never
just
had one. I guess he must have had a couple on a rushing play because they didn't say specifically rushing. They just said specifically none on a passing play.
that is amazing. That is absolutely amazing. And it's not like, like as players' reputations grow, maybe they start looking at him saying, "Oh, Zach Martin couldn't have held and give him a
Ab-
break here or there." But
Absolutely true.
and I only say that to make an even better case for him because it wasn't like that. He had to establish himself. He wasn't getting a break as a rookie when he was ripped on as the draft pick for the Cowboys that year as being a reach, right?
Yeah,
And it takes a couple years to get that kind of street cred as a player, and he didn't get any during that time. You know what I mean?
yep.
So astonishing, astonishing.
A
I mean, I've
17. My God.
I've never been happier to see a player retire as an Eagle fan. I mean, I have the utmost respect
No,
as a opponent fan. You know what I
no.
mean?
Out of just for my own knowledge, what did he get the last like 2 years?
Okay. Dun, dun. Here
I
we
would imagine.
go. Okay, so
I would
now,
imagine not very good.
well, now this past season he only played 4 games and he got a 2.
Well, that doesn't. Okay.
Means nothing, right? But 2022 and 23, he played 17 games and he got a 13 and an 11.
Oh, geez. Okay. Never mind.
So, yeah, his down year relative to this rating system would have been 2020 when he played 15 games and got a 7. That's his worst year of his career, and it's not even close. So, but he has some astonishing years, man. A 14. I mean, that's just crazy. It's crazy.
Even a 13 seems pretty
Oh, wait a
outrageous.
second, dude. Hold on a second. I'm a moron. I just switched back accidentally to when I had pulled up Demarcus Lawrence like 20 minutes ago. That was Demarcus Lawrence. Hold on.
Oh,
Because it threw me off because he all his stuff is Dallas too. Now, okay, here's the real Zach Martin. He played 10 games this past season, my bad, and got a 3. So that is his, and then he played 10 games in 2020, got a 4. And the only other season under 10 in his entire career was his second year in 2015, and he got a 9 and made the Pro Bowl.
okay. Well, there you go. but
Other
but
than
that
that,
but that
15,
17, that year with the 17, that was Zach Martin, right?
it was Zach Martin. Yes, it was 2019 Zach Martin. Here's his whole career. His rookie season, 15. Then he had the 9. Then 15, 13, 11, 17. Then an injured season. Then 13, 14, 14.
Oh
His
my
second to last season was a 14 where he went to the Pro Bowl and was all pro number 1. Yeah, man. Listen, my Eagles team is loaded with good defensive tackles, and they just all threw a party for him retiring.
oh my God. Okay, well that was eye opening. So we'll have to see about how this Bears offensive line comes together.
It's
Like I
exciting
said,
for
this
them.
this guy is excited for that 2023 pick. Still think he's going to be good, and
And I
wants him
think
to get
that's absolutely legit. Yeah.
yeah wants him to get Banks. So we'll have to see if they do, and if they do, that means they're getting four starting offensive linemen the last 2 years.
Wow. Wow. I mean that's just a massive upgrade, you know what I mean? And then it's all Caleb Willis time. Because the one of the most surprising things that hasn't come out this offseason is that the Bears haven't parted ways with Keenan Allen. For some reason, I just thought that was a lock. And um and it hasn't happened. And that's great news for Caleb Williams because that receiving core is pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's getting to the point though where there's like kind of like no excuse now.
That's where I was heading with that. Thank you. And you're right because now you've massively upgraded the offensive line. If they come out of the draft with another guy, man, like we were just talking about, and they still have this wonderful receiving core, they have solid to plus running backs. You know what I mean? So hey, it's
I
Caleb Williams go time.
I have found out the reason why the Cowboys gave Osa Odigizua that contract.
Oh, hit me.
Apparently, it was at the to please and at the behest of Eberflus.
Oh, interesting.
Apparently, he loves him, and he was like, "We have to bring this guy back."
Okay.
He really pushed for it. Apparently,
All right. Well, shoot. I hope what's his name? The tackle got him a nice present.
yeah. What I kind of like I said before, he's another one of these guys, Eberflus, who is a great coordinator, but not a good head coach. So if he said that as a defensive coordinator on a defensive guy, I can buy it a lot more than if he was the head coach.
100%. 100%. I'm with you. Big time. Big
Yeah,
time. Yeah, because he was a disaster as a head coach, but what an outstanding coordinator.
right. So I'm happy about that now. A little. I felt good about it before. I feel even better about it now.
That's awesome. Yeah, the only I remember seeing a stat where he was second on the Cowboys in pressures too. When I read about the re-signing, which surprised me because I didn't even know. I mean, I vaguely recognized his name. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So yeah, he's and the Eberflus thing that's huge. So yeah, no, that's interesting. And I think because like I've seen the Eagles do this time and time again with a player where you're like, well, that guy really hasn't done a ton yet, but they just signed him to a 4-year deal with some big money, and you're like, what? I stopped asking why several years ago because it just led to them always having cap room. You know what I mean? Anytime they really need something, they just go out and get it. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
this could be the beginning of the Cowboys starting to get themselves into that kind of position. This
Well,
kind of
maybe
move.
maybe Jerry's getting all senile, and Steven is taking over more.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
that he's great, but I think he'd be better than Jerry.
If this is an indication of that power shift, then it's a very good thing for your team.
We'll have to see. We'll have to see for sure. Obviously, Jerry's still on the main guy, but
And his presence will always be felt as long as he is functioning.
yes. All right. That's kind of all I have, though.
I'm right there with you, man. I don't think I forgot anything I wanted to bring up at all. No, no, covered it all.
All right. So when do you want to get back to this? Um,
Yeah, I wanted
when
to
is
ask you that too because
free
there's a
agency is the 15th, you said?
14th, which is uh next Friday. Let me just double check. I looked it up while we were talking earlier, but so let's see. Start is oh come on, why, that should be easy. Here we go. March 12th. Wait, it's I saw 14th earlier. What's the real thing, internet? Okay. It looks like it's really March 12th. Can you double check me on that?
Yep. I'm checking now. Efforting.
Efforting. Oh, I love it. Yeah, because that'll. I think that's a. We need to know this because it really affects when we should do the next pod. You know,
March 12th at 4 p.m., but teams can start negotiating with players on March 10th.
that used to be what they called the legal tampering period, which I always thought was hilarious.
Yeah, that is pretty funny. So that would be the 12th, would be that's a Monday?
That is next. Wait, that's a week from today would be the 13th. So wouldn't it be next Wednesday?
Oh, I'm looking at May. What an idiot.
No, all good, man. All good.
Yeah, so why don't we just come back next week on the 13th?
Yeah, that way we'll have some time to.
Unless you want to give it a week and come back in 2 weeks when more, when everything's settled.
That it might be best to play it by ear, Craig, if that's okay with you, just to see. Because if there's like a massive flurry of moves on Wednesday, it would make a lot of sense to do the pod while the news is fresh. But
Right.
if it's more of a slow trickle, it might make more to wait a week so we can cover the more of the bulk of the stuff.
All
What do you
right,
think?
let's do that. I'm assuming we'll be back next week because usually there is a flurry the first
I'm
day.
with you. This is not baseball free agency.
Right. So chances are we'll be back next Thursday
Yeah,
to do this, and yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait for it to get started. It's always a blast.
it really is the best off season in professional sports, and it's not even close to me.
I agree. Totally agree.
Right on. I love it. That was awesome, man. Good stuff.
Yes. Okay. Football part of the podcast is over. I do have to ask you: did you watch Elimination Chamber?
Oh my God, I did. And you weren't kidding, my friend. The
Holy
heel
crap!
turn.
Holy crap!
Did you see that coming? Because you were on top of almost everything. Did you see that coming?
I saw something. I wasn't sure if it was going to be Cody turning or Cena turning, but I was
Okay,
almost
okay,
positive somebody was going to turn.
okay.
I was thinking Cody would say no to The Rock, and then when Cena turned his back, Cody would blast him
I see.
if Cody was going to go bad. But it just basically went the other way around, and I'm not surprised that it went the other way around. But I was expecting one of them to turn because a babyface, especially white meat babyfaces
Right, right.
against each other as the WrestleMania main event, it would have been good for the story for Cena trying to get his 17th title to break Ric Flair's record. But it's much better now with a heel, heel face. Um, and the only thing that sucks about it is Cena is still on a part-time schedule with The Rock. Neither one of them had showed up on Raw on Monday. They're not going to be on SmackDown. They're not going to be on the next Raw or the next SmackDown. They're not coming back to the Raw after that.
So they're not carrying the story fully.
Right. Cody will have to carry the story himself for a little bit.
Right on.
Um, but they'll be back. Cena's got three in a row starting 2 week or well, two Raws from now. He'll be on Raw 3 weeks in a row because they're doing a European tour, and
Oh,
that first one is in Belgium,
wow.
and he's going to Belgium, and then
Cool.
after that, I forgot it's like three European cities, European tour, right in a row, three Raws right in a row, and he's going to be on all three of them.
Man, okay. Well, that's cool. I mean, it's hard to expect these guys to be full time. So I guess they're doing the best they can with it, and that's a nice run, that European
So
run.
what I'm going to do is give you my prediction.
Oh, lay it on me. I love it.
I think Cena will use The Rock to cheat and win at WrestleMania.
Oh, okay.
The Rock will
Okay.
cheat. The Rock will cheat for him, and Cena wins his 17th title,
I love it.
holds it until SummerSlam,
Mm-hmm.
which for the first time ever is a 2 night event now.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, they're expanding SummerSlam. Um,
Where is
so
SummerSlam this year? Do you know?
I think it's in Texas, in Dallas.
Oh, cool.
I
Oh,
don't. I,
wow.
I
Okay.
don't. I don't know for sure though. I don't know.
No, that's okay. Sorry, I asked a random question there.
No, 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 no. I probably should. I should know. I think it's in Texas. I'm just gonna real quick check it, so we don't have to guess.
Jersey, I'm seeing East Rutherford, Jersey. Is that right? It's a little confusing what I'm looking at.
Uh,
I
yes,
think
you're
it's
right. So it's gonna be at MetLife Stadium,
well, dude. Don't go to any Yankee games the night before because my buddy might have a raffle again.
that would be great. That would be great. So what I think is gonna happen at SummerSlam is there'll be a rematch
Oh, okay.
between Cody and Cena. And once again, The Rock will be in Cena's corner, but I think Cody's going to bring reinforcements for SummerSlam, and that's going to be Steve Austin.
Oh, that would be awesome. And when is Cena's retirement year over?
December.
It was actually a calendar year. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
So I think Cody wins it back at SummerSlam with the help of Austin neutralizing The Rock, basically. And I think Cena will not want to go out as a heel. I think he takes time off after SummerSlam, comes back for his final run, and maybe he'll be on for like, a month and a half straight, 6 straight weeks or something like that, right before he retires, and comes back as a babyface
I like it.
and
I
turns
go.
and maybe turns on The Rock, and maybe his last match ever is against The Rock.
Oh, that would be awesome. That's great. I love that. I love that.
If The Rock can do it, if not, there's plenty of options.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They'll be good, but that would be the perfect Hollywood ending right there, man. That would be sweet. I like that a lot. I'm with you on that. Sign me up for that. I
And
like
if they could get The Rock to do wrestle and Steve Austin to wrestle, they could do what they did last year with the tag team match the night before, since it's SummerSlam's 2 nights.
Yeah,
They could
exactly. The
do
one the
they
night
could
I was
do
there for. Yeah.
Yeah, they could do Cena with The Rock against Austin and Cody
Oh,
on on night one, and then night two Cody against Cena.
that would be freaking awesome. That would be
So
really cool.
that's what I think is going to happen. I'll probably be way off. I mean, they're they're so fluid now in what they're doing. They have it planned out, but it's so out of nowhere. Did you know that Rhea Ripley lost the title?
Yes,
What the
but
hell?
yeah, I that stunned the crap out of me.
I don't get it. In the women's Royal Rumble or Elimination Chamber, that girl Jade Cargill came back and beat the hell out of Naomi. So I think it's going to be her and Naomi. But I think it's going to come out that Bianca actually was the person who did it, not Naomi. But I'm also hearing they're going to do a three-way: Io, Bianca, and Rhea at Mania.
That was yeah. That I mean, listen, I really like Io Sky. I like her a lot, but
I,
that stunned the crap out of me.
yeah, because I'll tell you what, Bianca and Rhea are like is like a dream match for a lot of people. Like they came up at the same time. Bianca's a little older because she started later.
Hmm.
But they came up at the same time and basically both dominated right when they got there in NXT. They dominated as soon as they got on the main roster, main eventing WrestleManias, the whole deal. But they've never gone up against each other other than in NXT, I think once.
And they
And
built it to the perfect point where that match made sense, and then Sky comes in and wins the title.
so I don't get it. I don't get it.
I'm with you. That makes sense. I didn't know the history. It made sense. It made sense even not knowing the history because it just watching what's going on now. But knowing the history, I totally understand
Well,
now.
here's
Yeah,
another thing too: is I don't want their first meeting to be in a triple threat.
right. You want it to just be them.
Yeah, one on one. Maybe they don't think this is the proper build. That's the only thing I'm thinking is this will be like an epic confrontation that everybody wants, and maybe they got to it too late this year because
Yeah.
they have not interacted with each other all year at all.
So it's a little late to get it ready for WrestleMania. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, especially if it's going to be this big epic match, which could potentially close night one.
No, I get you. Yeah, it does make some sense there. So maybe this is kind of a just kind of resetting the deck and building maybe a way of kind of starting to build towards that better or something. I don't know. It was surprising. I'm with you.
Yeah, so I don't like the idea of the triple threat, but
No.
um, if we get Bianca and Rhea eventually, but I think Bianca's going to be sidetracked for a while. I think with Jade, because I honestly think she's going to be the one that got blamed. We find out she's the person who threw her on the car there.
Right on, right on. Well, I mean,
Because
the
it's too black and white right now. It's too quick. She came in out of nowhere, beat the crap out of Naomi, and then just left. And and that's it. And Naomi hasn't said anything.
yeah,
I'm
it's weird.
assuming she's going to say it wasn't me.
Yeah, man. No, I'm with you. That makes perfect sense. I don't know. It's just
Plus, it builds Bianca as a monster heel,
right, right,
which she's
which
never
is
been.
fun.
Yeah.
With that whip of hers, yeah, man. I'm telling you, that hair whip.
Did you see? Did you see? Uh, you saw when she whipped Liv Morgan on the top of the chamber, right?
Oh yes.
It sounds like an actual leather whip out of Indiana Jones when she hits people with it.
I've never heard anything like it, Craig. I said it on the pod last year when I was lucky enough to go to WrestleMania. I was astonished. I mean, I was literally floored. We were in a luxury suite, which sounds great, and it was really nice, and it was a wonderful experience. And thank you to my friend Chris who won the lottery. But as far as watching an event live, it's really sterile, and I didn't like. I would never pay to sit in a luxury suite because I felt like I was in my own living room. So,
Right.
having said that, I didn't feel like I was feeling the event like I usually do when I'm out in the crowd. But that damn braid whip, more than Gunther's slaps, more than any other thing that night, made me feel like I was actually in there. It was so damn loud. It was unbelievable, Craig.
Well, I'm sending you a picture
Oh,
of
cool, cool.
Liv Morgan
Oh, the welt?
the next day, and what? Look at her arms, and of course the stomach with the mark where the braid hit her. I just sent it. Her
Okay.
arms are so beat up. She looks beat up bad.
Let's see. Did it come through? Oh, there it is. Oh my God.
Zoom into the arm that's on her head. Zoom into
Yeah,
that arm.
that's insane. I mean, she has. I mean, it's so many different marks. You can't. It looks like she was whipped 100 times.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Looks like 12 bruises on the first arm, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and like 6 or 7 on the other arm, and then of course the whip marker going across her stomach.
Right across her stomach. That is insane, dude. I mean, nobody. I mean, like,
That left arm, my God,
it's terrible.
it's
The
covered in bruises.
and the right elbow bruise is pretty impressive too. To go with all that left arm stuff. Holy crap! I can't believe she must be Bianca. I mean, must be so unpopular to wrestle because who the hell wants to get in the ring with that?
Well, you know what I think a lot of those bruises are from. Remember when Bianca had her like upside down and was swinging her against the pod, kept
Oh, that's right.
That's what I think is true because she swung her like 4 or 5 times each, and she swung her into the chains of the fence, and then into the plywood or the hard plastic of the pod, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and she was upside down, covering her head with her arms, and
With
that's
her
probably where
arms.
all those bruises came from.
Yeah, because obviously that's not all from the whip. I wasn't even thinking that. Yeah, no, you're right. You're definitely right. Wow. Wow, that's crazy, dude. Wow, that's a beating. My goodness. Whew.
Yeah, just when someone says, "Oh, it's all fake," they don't know what they know how to fall. They don't really get hurt. Show them that picture.
Yeah, dude. Anybody? Oh, you know what? I just rewatched. Speaking of that kind of thing, man, and it's one of my favorite. I'm sure you've seen it. And anybody out there that hasn't, that likes wrestling, please check it out. You may like this guy. It's okay if you do. I have a couple friends that they love him. They watch his show every Friday on HBO. But personally, I can't stand Bill Maher. And one of my favorite moments in the history of pro wrestling is Roddy Piper taking his pants off on Politically Incorrect in the '90s when Bill Maher directed his smirk at Piper and said it's just a bunch of BS.
Oh,
And Piper showed him his hip replacement scar and said, "Tell me that's fake."
right, right, right.
And did a lot more than that. I mean, this went on for 20 minutes, this thing. And it is still one of my favorite things ever, right up there with the slap by Schultz and and when Van Vader went nuts in where was that? Australia or India or something?
Yeah.
I can't remember. I love those things. And yeah,
Even though he's not popular anymore, when Hulk Hogan was on, what the hell, that
oh,
short-lived talk show,
with Richard Belzer.
Richard Belzer and Mr. T, and he choked him out, and Richard Belzer fell backwards and broke his head.
That was one of the greatest things I've ever seen. And it was like it was just so common back then to have that attitude towards wrestlers, that sort of smug, like, yeah, you're a bunch, you're full of shit, your whole thing is BS, and we all know. Like it was like this. It was like my dad used to walk into the room when I was watching wrestling and be like, that's horseshit, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
Well,
it's like, yeah, I do.
yeah, I'm not a moron, but you want to take a body slam from King Kong Bundy, bro? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
let alone the way more difficult things they do than that, you know?
well, not only that,
So,
but not only that, the more difficult, but the real problem is the fact that, you get a boxing match or a UFC guy, and they, have like what, 4 or 5 fights a year max.
Max,
These guys are having 3 or 4 matches a week,
exactly.
every single week.
And back in the day, they were doing it 14 times a week or some crazy ass
Well,
shit.
they would do wrestle 8 days a week. Ric Flair would say it was all 7 days and twice on Sunday.
Twice on Sunday, that's right.
That he would wrestle. He'd wrestle in the afternoon in one town, go to the next town over, and wrestle that night on
Yeah, they'd
Sunday.
have a matinee. That's right. That's right.
Yep.
Oh man, yeah, no. It's anybody that still thinks that in the age we're living in is dumber than the people they think are dumb for thinking wrestling's real.
Right, exactly. You know, I don't think anybody thinks it's real anymore, but
Nobody. We're 30 years past the breaking of kayfabe. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
and that's fine. And the way I look at it is, do you watch any scripted television? You like Law and Order?
Exactly.
They're acting. Oh, well, guess what? They're acting.
Exactly, man.
It's the
Yeah, yeah.
same thing.
Dude, 100%.
But it's in front of a live audience, so you can't really screw up.
Yeah.
You
So
get
then,
one you get one
and all,
take.
and if they want to make a thing about it, like, well, the live, well, so they're like Broadway actors. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
do you not respect that? Come on.
yeah.
Yeah, there's luckily a lot of that's gone away over the years, but still you hear
There's
it here and
still
there,
yeah,
and
you still there's still a segment of it for sure.
there sure is, and I love taking every opportunity to just pummel them into the ground mentally because they're the ones that are idiots.
Right. It's it's just storytelling. That's all it is. That's what they always stress in the press conferences afterwards. The Rock was getting booed out of the building, and he was playing the heel up, and then he goes to the press conference and he's talking about the story they're about to tell.
See, I love that. It's too like I grew up in the kayfabe era. I was sad when it ended, but I quickly realized it's still going to be cool. You know what I mean? Like it's still freaking cool. It's just different, and it's okay. You know what I mean? I'm all good with both eras. I love both now.
Yeah.
You know?
And I know, and Triple H sometimes gets some heat for some of his decisions, but I'll tell you what, I love him being in control the last 2 years. It's been a great ride.
It's been so much better than the last like at least 10 years with McMahon
Yeah,
than that I listen, anybody at the top of anything that big is going to catch crap, just because you can't make everybody happy, but
right,
I can't imagine doing a much better job.
right. Well, apparently he's saying that their decision this year, rather than having WrestleMania all structured and ready to go um, from the very start, in terms of what we know, obviously they know what they're doing, but it's going to be a lot more chaotic leading up to it. And the first of that was Rhea dropping the title. So apparently, more surprises and things like that are going to happen leading up to WrestleMania.
I love it. Okay, that's really cool. I'm on board. Let's go.
Apparently, their thought process in creative for this WrestleMania is chaos.
I love it. Fun. I'm on board for some chaos.
Yeah, so gonna be good. Gonna be good.
I love it, man. And I love you. I can't wait to see how your prediction pans out. I like it. I would vote for that if I was in the writing room,
As long as unless they bring back Steve Austin for Mania,
which would be great too,
which would
obviously.
be great too.
And
I
that was
just
the
think
rumor last year.
right, and it was supposed to happen, and apparently I don't know the deal fell through. But he's already been on record saying that if they needed him this year, he would do it.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
Awesome.
he should be on board. Now, if they bring it back for WrestleMania, I don't see how Cody can lose.
Right.
So
Right.
I don't think that's going to happen because I honestly think Cena's going to win. He's got to win that 17th, and he's got to basically come out and say, even if he's like kind of a tweener, he's a heel, but his reasoning might be, I haven't won a singles match, in like since like 2018 or something ridiculous, which is true.
Right on. Right on.
He's only won tag matches in the Elimination Chamber. He hasn't won a one-on-one singles match in a really long time, and he needs to win the 17th more than anything, and he needs to ensure that it happens, and that's why he aligned himself with The Rock.
Right on. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, and it makes sense to hold Austin off until SummerSlam too, because of it being the first 2 day one, and you'd think they want to make a massive splash in some way, you
Yeah,
know?
in New York.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking.
I like it. I'm on board. I'm on board with the Craig plan.
Let's see. Yeah, it's 2 day. It's August 2nd and 3rd at MetLife Stadium.
Okay, okay.
Wow, they're putting SummerSlam in football stadiums like WrestleMania now.
Yeah, how about that, man? And that, I mean, that's, you know, that's a big ass venue, man. That's a big ass venue.
Yeah, yeah, and Royal Rumble was just, or Elimination Chamber was just in the Sky Dome,
Yeah, that's yes.
and the
The
Royal
freaking
Rumble has been
Sky
in,
Dome, man.
yeah, Royal Rumble has been in baseball stadiums forever. They've been for a long time. They've been in baseball stadiums.
Yeah, man.
So
Yeah, no, it's
they're
amazing the crowds they're drawing.
their ultimate goal now, I think, is just to get every pay per view in a stadium.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. What's stopping them? They just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, steadily and slowly over the years. So why not?
Yeah, yep.
I'm all for it. Let's go.
This Netflix money is paying off.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. Yeah. It was that seems like a resoundingly solid and positive move.
Quick 5 bill,
Mhm. Yeah, that'll help the promotional coffers.
So okay, yeah. I just want to mention that real quick. Make sure
No,
you
I'm
saw
glad
it.
you did, and thank you for the heads up because I get in and out, and I'm watching. If I'm not watching Raw and Summer or SmackDown, I'm reading about it. But I was so busy, I lost track that pay-per-view was happening. So thank you for letting me know that it's one I needed to watch.
Yeah, I mean, probably the best Elimination Chamber event ever. And
It's the
I
best one
think,
I've ever seen, and I haven't seen them all by any stretch, but it's the best one I've ever seen.
and it's the heel turn is reminiscent of Hogan with the NWO.
Yes, yes,
I think the Hogan one is a little bigger, slightly. I would
yeah,
put
because it
that
happened
if I was
first.
ranking them. I'd say that's number one. But I think
Yes.
Cena's is number two heel turn all time.
Holy crap, that's fun. Oh, that's a fun conversation.
I mean, you got a bunch of heel turns, but I can't see anything being bigger than those two.
Jeez, I mean, I'd have to really think about it, but man, off
I
the top of
mean,
my head, I don't have anything that can beat it.
yeah, Cena was a heel for like a year and a half in his first couple years,
Yep,
and then he was a face for like 20.
20 years, yeah. I mean, wow, I don't know, man. Nothing. I mean, I can't even think of anything close off the top of my head. So yeah, wow, that's a good call.
Yeah.
That's a
All
really good
righty.
call.
Cool.
Oh, hey, and while we're on the air, I want to throw something at you because I listened to an old reaction that I had you do recently because I was in the mood to hear forget which song it was now, but whatever it was, and on that you mentioned the idea of us possibly talking about music sometime on a pod, and I wanted to throw the idea out there of revisiting that
Okay. Yeah.
sometime when we have a couple weeks off and it's a there's a lull. We could do things like I was thinking about maybe we could do something like top 10 guitarists, top 10 rock bands, or just talk about things you've reacted to or whatever, you know what I mean? I think it'd be fun.
I think that would be a lot of fun. Absolutely. I'm on board.
Awesome, man. Yeah, because the
Yeah.
two of
Give
us
us.
together, man, we have an interesting background to draw from. I mean, you've done thousands of hours of reactions to music that you're one of the most, like I always say, you're the most open-minded reaction person out there. And I've been playing music and teaching it for 30 years and doing it my whole life. So we have a lot to draw from there.
Yeah. I'm on board. Let's do that.
We can talk off air about the topics or whatever, but yeah, I just want to throw it out there.
Yeah, definitely during this football off season, we will get to it. No doubt.
Awesome. I love it, man. Perfect.
I'm
Perfect.
assuming the next one will be free agency. The one after that will probably be the draft. But then
Hmm.
between the draft and over the summer, as we get, that's we'll definitely hit on those.
Perfect. Love it, man. Perfect. Thank you. Awesome.
Sounds good. Okay. Well, if that's everything, I'm ready to sign off.
That's it on my end, my man. Another fun one. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us as always. Thank you for sticking with us. And until next time, I will see you later.